Fatima?
Yes.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Sure.
On LinkedIn, it allows you to post your grades. I'm just wondering, should we only post A pluses?
Personally, I wouldn't post any. I wouldn't post any grades, and there's a number of reasons for that. The truth of the matter is that people don't care. It's much more important if you use those A pluses to earn yourself awards and scholarships. Put those in, but don't bother posting your grades. Nobody cares. Yeah, nobody cares 2 years out into the job what you got in your first year English course.
Yeah. And does that also go for projects? Should we not be uploading our projects even in grad school?
I think you want to be judicious about how you deal with projects. You want to remember that who the audience is. Okay, so if you've got an audience that if you're aiming your LinkedIn profile at private sector employers, you want to make sure that the discussion about your project is aimed at private sector employers. So you want to talk about things that matter to them. Okay? The grade on your project doesn't matter. A description about what your project was trying to accomplish probably does. If your project won an award, that's worth mentioning. If your project had an impact in the community, depending on what type of project it is, giving actual metrics of its impact on the community is worthwhile. It's much more impressive if I say I gave a public lecture to 300 people than the fact that I, received an A plus on that presentation or whatever. Employers just looking for different things, so you want to make sure that you're aiming your presentation, your self-presentation on LinkedIn to what employers are actually going to be interested in. Does that make sense?
Great, thanks a lot.
Yeah. Any other questions about the whole of the presentation? I know that we...
So if you want to keep your Facebook as
right.
personal,
yeah.
does it play, and it goes with Twitter as well, does it play negatively for you if you have it locked, so therefore they have to request for people to be added?
Yeah, there's a few things, there's a variety of opinions on that at the moment. Some employers are finding that and they're wondering, what do you have to hide?
Exactly.
Right? And others are, their Facebook profile isn't any of my business, so if they've locked it up, then that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
My personal preference is first of all, I try to very closely control what it is I do and post on Facebook. I spend most of my time with my friends. Like, my Facebook profile right now has close to 800 friends, okay, because I belong to a bunch of private Facebook groups and all of those people are my contacts. But I don't post a whole lot of stuff in my own timeline. Mm-hmm. What I do instead is I'll post into the groups, because only the people who are in the groups can see a lot of that material. It's still possible for that stuff to get out, so I'm careful about what I post in there. I'm not going to go on big, long rants or make very, controversial political arguments or anything like that. But I am going to interact with people. I just choose not to do it on my timeline. I just think that's kind of. I really don't think that there are too many people who are so interested in my life that they're going to be perusing my timeline. They're more interested in our relationship with each other, in which case I should really be directly interacting with them in the first place, right? But the other piece to that whole scenario, I think that one of the things that I would do in providing a resume or an application is I would tell them, like print right on the resume, which social media profiles I want those people to see. And if you have to, create a second one.
Yeah.
Go in and use a nickname or a variation on your name. Create one that is basically just for employers to see. Lock the other one down and leave that one public. And then print it on your resume, so that's the one that they're going to go look at. One of the things you'll find is that the last thing you want to do is leave it to chance which version of your name they're going to find. And we're also going to want to be aware of what appears when you do things like do a Google search on your own name. In my case, I happen to share a first and last name with a former Pittsburgh Steeler who is now dead, and somebody who was on the FBI's most wanted list. And so I am very much aware of what shows up. And so to try to control what employers see, I will give them the direct links to my social media profiles. And then I'm going to do as much work as I possibly can to push the results from those other people way down in the Google search results. And we can talk about that in a different conversation. There's lots of great ways you can do, lots of great things you can do to try to influence Google to see what comes up on your name.